Watery tears streamed down my cheeks. It took a bit for my eyes to adjust. The glare was barely tolerable. The light of the sun beamed from our two-person welcoming party. Congratulations, Gwen, for making it back to New Earth. And you've brought friends. Gwen was smiling and nodding and glowing brighter than ever. Please introduce us. This is Elsie. She's air, and Forrest, who can work with either air or earth. Frank and Tara are earth, and Gwen was cut off by the gatekeeper. This is the water baby, or is it Skywater? He reached out for my hand and caressed it. I grinned shyly, looking at Gwen. I didn't know what to think. I'm Jonah, he said, still holding on to me. I'm naturally gifted with the water and air elements, and this, he trailed off as the other gatekeeper stepped forward. George, I've been gifted with the earth element. George walked around and shook everybody's hand. So good to meet you. I'm so glad you're here. Jonah put his hand over his heart. A small community has gathered around this entrance from the forest in Fair City. People stay here as long as they need to. Some choose to live here permanently to greet any newcomers. It is your choice to decide how and where you choose to live in the new earth. Jonah stepped aside and let George continue. While you're deciding, there are classes to take, and if you're ready, classes to give. We've been asking everyone to give a class about their talent before choosing to stay or go. Teaching and sharing knowledge and talents is a part of the freedom we enjoy living here in New Earth. You can come and talk with me or Gwen if you have questions about sharing or getting started. That said, we're going to take you to your lodgings now. So unless you have any quick questions, he paused, looking around. Then welcome. Jonah brought my hand up to his chest, stroking it with his other hand, looking me in the eye for a brief moment before letting go. He escorted Gwen, Elsie, Forrest, and me while George took Frank and Tara. We waved our goodbyes with really big smiles and started following our leaders away from the beautiful, ornate entry. Not far from the gate, Jonah headed right, circling a large, ancient redwood tree. We have a little bit of a hike to get to the newcomer's lodging for air, so please stay on the trail and follow me. Elsie pointed. Are we going up that hill? Jonah spoke over his shoulder. Yes, the air lodgings are at the top. I think you'll find it refreshing. The view is amazing. He returned his attention to the task at hand, walking and talking. There are lots of classes to take, like flying and seeing, though my favorite class is still meditation. Forrest paused to look up at the treetops. What do you like about it? The trees or the classes? The classes, said Elsie. Well, it's hard to say exactly, but I think it helps to know that the meditation class improves flying and seeing. The trail dipped down to the left, then started to climb again. The steepest parts were paved with wide flagstone steps, making the task bearable. The hill was fairly small, as hills go, and we were at the top in no time at all. We caught our breath at the top while enjoying the view. Gwen spun around, surveying the small community in the valley below. I don't think I've ever been here. No, you haven't, replied Jonah. It was still in the planning stages when you joined us. The newcomer's lodging is just over there. Jonah pointed toward a stand of redwood trees on the right. I looked at the trees for a long moment before I noticed a door. It was impressive. The lodge was literally a stand of trees. In the center must have been the lodge, I discerned. Jonah started for the door. We all walked in, repeating gasps of delight. The inside was round and cozy and made of wood. It was like being inside a very, very large tree. Gwen and I waited patiently while Jonah showed Elsie and Forrest their rooms. "Gwen, how come there isn't any furniture?" She giggled. "You'll learn more about that in class." "Okay." She laughed some more. "You know, since you're a singer, you'll probably get to teach in every element." "I don't know, Gwen. I'm not that great at fire." "Aren't you an artist?" "I am." "Then you're great at fire." I shrugged my shoulders sheepishly. She belted out laughing, and I joined in. "I used to be just like you, wondering if I could do it all." She looked at me with hawk eyes. "You have everything you need." My turn to start laughing. Gwen gave me a wide look and then started laughing too. "Gwen, I think that's the 4th time I've heard that statement." "Gosh, well past synchronicity." "I'm getting it though. I'm going to tie it to my candle exercises. That's what I'm going to do." Gwen was still giggling. "Sounds great. I think you'll find you're good to go in about a day." "I thought we didn't have time." "Ah, yes. Well, that's what I'll be better with in about a day." And we both started to giggle again. Jonah showed up and waved for us to follow. "Now we're going to the ocean. It's not exactly close, so we're going to stop at the river for a dip." I clapped. "Oh, that's great." "It's just at the bottom of the hill." We followed Jonah down the winding path on the far side of the almost mountain. Hawks and eagles flew nearby, and a bear was drinking on the far side of the river when we arrived. It looked up at us and grunted. I was stunned that Jonah grunted back. "You can speak to animals?" "Yeah, I took a class." He was grinning. "I'm getting that you speak to animals naturally. How do you do it?" I looked at him wide-eyed. He stopped for a moment and stood well within my aura to look into my eyes. "Gwen told you we were all starseeds, right?" His energy was intoxicating. I sucked in a deep breath and surveyed his face. His breath smelled like apples and roses, and his eyes were an intense amber brown. "I send pictures and sound out, but I don't know what all the calls mean." "You do in your heart, though." He reached for my hand and placed it on his heart momentarily. "Yes." He turned around and continued down the trail. "The animal classes are given in the Earth community. You can go there when you're ready." "So Gwen." Gwen looked up at Jonah. "Yes, Jonah?" "You are both water workers, right?" "Yes, that's correct. But what I didn't say was," he cut her off, "Skywater is a singer and she has gifts in every element." "Now you're just showing off," said Gwen, laughing. The 3 of us just laughed at it all. How lovely it was to even have this conversation. "This is incredible," said Jonah. "So you'll be able to give a class in every element?" "That's what Gwen said. I don't quite understand my talents yet, so I think it's best I take a class or 2 first." "You're overthinking it," said Gwen. "You were born this way. It's all second nature to you. You just think that there's something else to learn, but there isn't. You'll understand what we mean when you take a class." I must have looked anxious and confused. Jonah wandered over and picked up my hand again. "Don't worry. It's just that it's new. Rest for a few days. Meditate, maybe. and then you won't feel so scared. I nodded. Jonah brought my hand up and kissed it. Jonah let out a whistle. Water! All of us threw off our robes at once and ran into the river for a swim. The splashing made a nearby bear a little nervous, but it quickly recovered and returned to water for a drink. We swam upriver and floated down over and over again for what seemed like hours. Eventually, I found a large eddy to float in undisturbed, and soon the others joined me. The water felt nourishing. It flowed under and around me, swirling and caressing as it went. I heard a large splash right next to me and looked up in time to see the large bear swimming across the river. I felt totally content. This was my utopia vision. It wasn't much longer before I began feeling energetic again. The water felt tingly and electric like the pools in Fair City. I sucked in deep, healing breaths. It was a delicious feeling, but Jonah and Gwen were already on shore waiting for me. My white robe felt as comforting and light as the one from Fair City. I scooped my hair back and tied it in a knot. "I'm ready when you are." We all looked at each other, surveying our enlightened glow. Gwen and I both looked at Jonah expectantly. "There's a small footbridge in about 100 feet. We'll take that, and then it's not long before we'll be at the river lodge. We can stay there for a while and meet everyone, or go on to the ocean." Gwen squeezed the water from her hair. "Will we follow the river or go over the mountains?" "Oh, we'll follow the river. It'll take us directly to the ocean. This last part of the river is mostly straight." Gwen fussed a bit more with her robe. "I think we should continue to the ocean. We have a lot of time to meet the river people." I looked at Jonah and Gwen, shrugging my shoulders. "I agree. I'd rather go straight to our destination and visit later." "Okay then, let's go," said Jonah. We walked quietly down a path that followed the river. There was lots of wildlife, like otters and tree martins. On occasion, one of us would point to an animal or a bird sighting, and then we'd all stop and look before moving on. My feet were finally in sync with Jonah's long stride. "We're here." "Oh, that wasn't too bad." I kicked a pebble out of my sandals. "No, it was practically short. The animals and plants are a lovely distraction. Where's the lodge?" Gwen saw it first and started walking toward it. "That's it." Jonah pointed like he did at the air lodge, but I was having trouble seeing anything. But then I saw something like a shimmer in the sand. "Oh, is that it? It looks like a surf shack. It's very cute." Jonah touched my arm. "It's not the only one. Look over there." He laughed. His arm waved in a direction behind him, and a whole village of starseeds were standing to greet us. "Hello! Congratulations! Welcome to Ocean Newcomers Lodge." Everyone was flashing wide, toothy grins. Jonah stepped forward. "This is Gwen. I believe you may have met before. She hasn't been with us for some time, though. And this is Skywater, our singer." "Oh, we are honored to have a water singer. First one to grace us." "Thank you," I said, though I found the introduction a bit uncomfortable. I shook the leader's hand. "I'm sorry I didn't get your name." "Oh, yes, I'm Adrian. Glad to meet you." Adrian reached out and gave Gwen and me a handshake and a hug. "All of our classes are in the evening. If you're ready, you're welcome to sit in on any that sound attractive." "Oh, wonderful. That sounds great, doesn't it, Gwen?" Gwen nodded and laughed. "I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you." All three of us waved goodbye for now and headed over to the newcomer lodgings. Each of us settled into our surf shacks. Mine had a yellow surfboard, a boogie board, and a skimmer. There were one-piece rash shirts, a wetsuit, and bikinis on the walls, and some fishing net thing with buoys. I picked out a simple one-piece and headed for the water. I was looking forward to some wave action, but was equally content to swim parallel to the beach. It wasn't long before Gwen and Jonah swam by. I love salt water. Gwen flipped over to float and kick. Jonah was grinning ear to ear, side-stroking over the swells. We did a few laps before finding a sweet spot to float through the troughs and swells in. The ocean water was different from the pools at Fair City. I could feel surges of energy pulsing through me with the incoming surf. Side-stroke it, I thought. I needed to move through the sensations. But after a couple of laps, I decided to get out. Jonah and Gwen were already on the beach. Wasn't that something? Jonah smoothed back his hair. Incredible! I was still wringing out the water from my hair. Did you guys feel that pulsating energy? Gwen stood up. Sure did. It's amazing. How did you stay in for so long? I decided that I needed to move through the energy, so I started doing laps. I think if I had chosen a stronger stroke, I might have been able to stay a little longer. Jonah stood up. We'll try that next time and see if it works. I'd like to be able to swim longer too. He took a few steps back and began scanning around me. Your aura is a lot brighter, yeah? I really love the water. Gwen took a step back and began shaking her head. So do I, but your aura is shimmering. Is my aura shimmering, Jonah? He started laughing. I'm afraid not. Then he did a power pose like Superman. How's my aura look, Gwen? Is it shimmering? Now we were all laughing. Sorry, no, said Gwen. I got my composure first. Let's check out some of those classes they talked about. Maybe one will be about energy pulses. We ran down the beach like young children. There were 2 circles of people chatting when we approached. Both groups turned our way and waved hello. Gwen and Jonah went one way and I went the other. After our classes, Gwen quizzed me all the way back to our surf shacks. Did they mention the pulsing? Not until I asked. It was equated to doing crystal work, like how using a pendulum on the chakra shows a chakra's health as well as cleans it. Oh, I never thought of it that way. But yes, I do. Gwen seemed excited. Okay, well, that's what the ocean is doing. Its pulsing cleans primarily and then acts as a connection. No, wait. Yes, that's right. It tunes you to the vibration of the water. Jonah looked perplexed. Wait, let me repeat what I heard. The pulsing cleans the chakras and then tunes them to the vibration of the water? Yes, that's correct. You got it. Gwen turned to face me. So why couldn't we stay in the water? Oh, they said because we just haven't developed the stamina yet. The water is vibrating at crystalline level. I like to call it liquid quartz. Anyway, it just takes a bit of getting used to. We got back to the shacks and decided to meet outside on the lounges. I didn't get to hear about your class. What did you learn? Jonah leaned forward in his chair, eager to share. We talked about how sand is basically ground crystal, and then how this ground crystal is the foundation of the sea. It went right along with the water being liquid crystal. Gwen sat up too. You know, I just realized that we're talking about putting crystals in water to energize water. All 3 of us just exchanged looks. Yes, of course. Sure, that makes sense. Too bad we can't drink it, I laughed. But we do. Jonah turned to face me. Every time it rains, the water is from the ocean, unless it's the forest. You know, I was just going to drop the two of you off and walk back to the entry gate, but instead I stayed and took a class. Something I don't normally do, but I'm so glad I did. It's been a long time since I thought about the relationship between the elements. I feel much closer to the ocean than I have in a very long time. Thank you for sharing. You're very welcome, Jonah, I said. Gwen stood up. Let's go for a swim and try out the new technique. We all ran to the ocean and dove in under a wave. This time, I felt the pulsating right away. I flipped over on my back and started windmilling my arms and kicking hard. I saw Gwen swimming freestyle stroke, and Jonah was flying over the waves, doing a beautiful butterfly. I was surprised we did so many laps, but we all finished 4 laps before heading for the beach. Phew, that was amazing. Jonah flipped his head to wring out the water. Gwen did the same. It really worked. I was able to stay much longer that time. I squeezed the salt water from my eyes. I forgot to float and see how long I could stay in between doing laps. Jonah went back to his Superman power stance. You mean you could have stayed in longer? I laughed at the reference. I mean that I'm not sure because I forgot to try it. Jonah looked at Gwen and frowned. He seemed to be lost in thought. If you're entertaining that, I think you're saying you could have stayed in the energy longer. In the ocean, I mean. Jonah looked back at Gwen with a serious face again. I couldn't wait to get out. Those last 2 laps. Well, I felt like the water was propelling me, so that part was easier than I thought, but I could hardly stand the elation. The ecstasy of it all was overwhelming. Oh, I see. You too, Gwen? Yeah, I think so. I did feel really great while I was swimming, but I was overdone by the last lap. So, you didn't feel like that? Not exactly. I've been doing a meditation for the last 2 decades that is very ecstatic, so I'm used to that feeling. Gwen and Jonah plopped down on their lounge chairs. I sat on the outside corner of mine, drying my hair. Then Gwen sat back up. What meditation are you doing? I used to call it the Merkaba. My teacher told me it is actually the tourbillon I've been spinning. Now it was Jonah's turn to sit up. You've been spinning the tourbillon? The Merkaba? I heard that was really dangerous, which was the main reason I stayed away from it. Did you hear that too, Gwen? I asked. Yeah, now that I think of it, I have, but I've never been drawn to it. What is it? Can you explain how to do it? I can teach you. It's a bit involved. I think I should teach a class on it and let you two rest up first. Jonah, you were right to be wary about the Merkaba. It has a reputation for imploding. But I don't spin the Merkaba. I spin the tourbillon. It's much more forgiving. The most important consequence of that meditation is how it clears the heart. So, I will talk about the heart chakra before I begin. Also, I'll show you how I clear my chakras first. Do you have a question, Gwen? How long do you spin it? As long as I can stand the intensity. Sometimes it's about 30 minutes, and sometimes it's for hours or days even. When I first started, I'd just collapse and take a short nap. It's a hard meditation. Why did you do it then? I mean, What's the benefit, or is there a benefit? Yeah, there's a lot of really cool benefits. It's raised my compassion level and improved my ability to think clearer. It eliminates illness. What else? I've traveled through the galaxy and visited other planets. Mostly, it has helped me to find purpose with my life and to remind me that all is one. Does that help? Jonah, how does it differ from the Merkaba? Oh, well, of that I'm not so sure. But here's some basics. The Merkaba is sharp and angular and mostly a travel and manifestation meditation. I think it also has other components like health and compassion, but I've never been drawn to spin it. Is that helpful? Gwen massaged her feet. Okay, now describe the tourbillon, she said. Okay, it's mainly a donut-shaped energy. Most people have seen it. It's the electromagnetic energy that circulates around and through the earth, or any positive and negative charge, like the force between magnets. The energy flows up through the center, out the top, circles around, and in through the bottom. That's the imagery. But when I'm spinning it, it feels like I'm in a vortex. My feet are glued to the ground, but the energy rocks me back and forth. Suddenly, Jonah stood up and looked at Gwen, who then got up also. I think it's time for you to start your first class. Let's go. I'll bet people are already in a circle waiting for you to start. We all laughed and ran to the far end of the beach. There was a small circle of 5 people hanging out. They looked like they were just in the water. Gwen walked into the center of their circle to make her announcement. Would you like to learn how to spin the tourbillon? Is anyone interested in that class? They all raised their hands. Gwen smiled at me and waved me over. Okay, you're up, teacher. I smiled and moved to stand in the center. Over the years, I've found the imagery in my mind works faster if I stand, so I'll ask you to do the same. Let me know when your feet are comfortable in the sand, and if you get tired later, it's okay to sit down or lie down. Everyone adjusted themselves. When they looked ready, I continued. Okay, now send a grounding cord from your perineum down to the center of the earth and raise your hand when you have that. Hands went up right away. Now bring up some lovely earth energy through your grounding cord and check your chakras. Clean them if they need it. All of your chakras should be bright and fantastic. Raise your hand when you're finished. This took a bit longer, but eventually everyone's hands sailed up. Okay, now imagine in front of you a ring of bright, beautiful golden light. When you have that, see it spinning freely. The direction isn't important, just let it spin. Show me you have that. I paused. Great. Inside of that circle is another ring of bright silver light. So gorgeous. Spin it in the opposite direction. When you have them both spinning, raise your hand. Fantastic! Okay, inside the gold and silver rings is another ring of white light. It's a bright, bright white. Spin it in the same direction as the golden ring and let me know when you can see all 3 of them spinning in their directions. The outer and inner spinning in one direction, with the middle ring spinning in the opposite direction. I saw nodding heads and tapping fingers confirming they were good to go. Okay, now see or Ask all of the rings to spin faster. I paused briefly. Now even faster. Let go of any control and see them spinning even faster. Now see them spinning at God's speed. I paused. Now allow a tether from the center of the rings to connect to your heart chakra. Now expand the rings large enough for you to fit inside. Bring them toward you so they encompass you in the center of the white ring, spinning at God's speed, faster than you can see. I ran energy through my chakras as I waited for confirmation. Okay, now you're going to expand the rings again to encompass the beach. Nod when you have that image. Okay, super. Now expand the rings again and see them encompass all the villages and the gate to New Earth. And when you have that, expand the rings again to encompass the New Earth. See the earth inside the rings and the rings spinning at God's speed around the outside of the earth. Nod when you have that. I waited again and began spinning my own tourbillon. Now imagine a pipe made of any material that rises from the center of our beautiful planet and travels up through the layers of lava and earth crust, pacing through your heart chakra and extending onward, out into space. Once your tube is traveling in the cosmos, ask the planet to send gorgeous, bright, golden light from the center core of the planet up through the pipe, through your heart chakra, and outward through the pipe and into the galaxy or universe beyond. Let the light fill the pipe and see them traveling together. Let me know when you have that image in your mind's eye. Everyone's breath increased and energy flowed around and around the circle. You're doing wonderful. Now it's time to chant the numbers of compassion. Repeat after me. 13, 20, 33. Again. 13, 20, 33. Say it over and over. It is your mantra. Say it faster and faster, and spin it as long as you can. I closed my eyes and saw the beautiful golden core of the new earth, filling up my pipe and sending it out to the ethers. I joined the others, 13, 20, 33, 13, 20, 33, and back and forth my body swayed as I saw my pipe of golden light swirl, dip, and dive around the planets, and then wrap itself around our planet. The Earth's aura flashed white, and I opened my eyes. Everyone was lying on the sand, exhausted. Let's get in the water, I suggested. Everyone sat up and very, very sluggishly walked into the water. They swam their easiest stroke, dog paddle, I think, and then just floated. Some swam more. I waited on the beach for them to return. The group walked out of the water one by one, smiling, but quiet. By the time they were all in a circle, they were ready to talk. Okay, how did that go? Gwen, would you like to start? Sure. Well, first off, wow. Everyone laughed. I see what you mean by it being a hard meditation. There's a lot of steps, but I could handle it. Mostly just now I noticed how I could stay in the water longer. Jonah, I got a surge of love energy that knocked me to the sand. He laughed, and everyone else did too. Would you like to go next? Tell us your name. I'm Rain. I was like Jonah. My heart expanded with the numbers. What are the numbers for again? The numbers equal 66. It's the number of compassion in numerology. Rain laughed. So not the numbers of the devil then? We all smiled at the reference. No, that's one of the old falsehoods. 3, 6, and 9 are considered magic or spiritual numbers. They're not materialistic like 4 or 8. 3 and 6 equals 9. Then you have 99 and free energy. That's a 9 with 9 power, which easily throws energy over to the beginning. And since it's a 99, the beginning is 100 or 1 with the power of 2 zeros. Rain looked hard at me. I think you need to teach a class on numerology. Everyone agreed. Yeah, I can do that. But let me just say it differently. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. And 1 plus 8, which are the parts of the number 18, equal to 9. 9 is the number of the humanitarian and endings. The last number of all the challenges starting with the number 1. So it is not dualistic in any way. It's one of the ways that people become lost. Rain spoke up. You're saying that 66 in numerology is compassion and 666 in numerology means humanitarian energy, like love your fellow man or woman? Yeah, you got it now. Wow, so for the last 500-ish or 1,000 years, people were told that humanitarian energy was devilish? Gosh, I sure am glad that's over. Let's go for another swim, I suggested. Everyone ran into the surf and dove under the incoming wave. I did some more laps. When I got out, everyone was waiting on the beach, watching me as I got out of the water. Gwen looked at me. How do you stay in for so long? Good question. The water's energy is home for me. I motioned for everyone to resume our circle. It's home for all of us, too. We're all water babies. Are you saying your endurance is due to the tourbillon meditation? Yes. With practice, it will align you to the energies of the planet. We all know about evolving quickly. Just keep trying the meditation and your endurance will increase. I promise. I looked around at all the faces. Jonah started laughing. No, that doesn't help. I don't doubt that with more practice, I could experience more depth in that meditation, but I beg to differ. I think it's just you. I think that you underestimate your talent with spinning. I think it's tied somehow to why you're the singer. Oh, yeah, good point. I really don't know why I'm considered a singer. I do know that this energy has been with me for a long time. I might even venture to say I was born with it. I've just never sat down to put all of my blocks in a row. I guess you might be right. I sometimes forget how long I've been studying this meditation. I shrugged my shoulders sheepishly. I looked around at everyone's faces. Does anyone else want to share their experience with the tourbillon? No one volunteered. Okay, well, that's class then. Jonah and Gwen helped me up from the sand. We want to know more. About the spinning meditation? I asked. Jonah pushed back his curly brown hair. No, I think we'd like to know more about you. What can you tell us? I motioned for us to sit back down on the soft white sand. Okay, I remember that I knew I wanted to be a healer when I was 6. I had deja vu incidents when I was young, had crushingly horrible dreams till adulthood. As a teenager, I knew what I wanted to do in the world. I just didn't know that being enlightened wasn't a paying job. Jonah and Gwen looked at each other for a long moment. Jonah touched my arm to get my attention. What about being a singer? I don't know what it means to be a singer exactly. I'm sure I'll figure it out, or some entity will tell me. My gut tells me that I need to lead a life centered around a compassionate heart, and everything will come from that. Gwen asked, "Are you okay with that? I mean, just that simple answer?" I nodded. I've fought my own demons in order to stay alive in this life and do something. I thought I was supposed to facilitate a healing for people, and for a while that's what I did. Then this meditation showed up, and when it became a regular practice, things really started to move fast. I went through a lot of changes, and I'm so grateful. The tourbillon came along right when I needed it. It has become my highest calling so far. I only wish to share the method by which I received this lovely healing. I'm afraid that it's as Jonah said, that I was born for this work, and that my stamina is higher than people can tolerate. It was depressing. I was reminded about how solitary my life has been. I still think that even if you don't practice the same level of spinning, you can still lift your heart with compassion and heal yourself with the higher vibration. Everyone has to be a beginner sometime. Gwen was looking out to sea and Jonah was staring at the sand. As usual, I had lost them with my verbal diarrhea. I wonder if I'll ever learn. The circle broke up, and after a short rest, Jonah announced he was returning to the New Earth Gate. Gwen and I decided to move on, but said our goodbyes and thank yous to Jonah for his wonderful kindness and buoyant energy. He gave us both a hug. Don't be strangers. Come back when you can. We will. Thank you. Gwen and I sat by the water and talked about the next step. I really have this pull to move on. Gwen began braiding her hair. To where? Oh, do you want to skip the river community and go somewhere else? I sucked on my lower lip, thinking about my visions. Yeah, I do. I keep seeing this gorgeous valley with a few waterfalls and palm trees. There are animals that are part of that community and birds singing, and don't laugh. She grinned. Why would I laugh? I looked out at the waves. The vision reminds me of a movie I saw as a kid about Shangri-La. Actually, I think that's what it is. Gwen widened her eyes in surprise. I never thought about it, but wow, yeah, there's no reason why it wouldn't be everywhere, right? I brightened up. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Shangri-La should be the whole New Earth. I threw my arms out wide and swung them around a few times. Don't you want to go and look for it? Gwen got up and stared at the waves. It sounds exciting. I'm not sure it's for me. I stayed in Fair City for a long time, and finally, when you showed up, I knew it was time to go on to the New Earth. But now I feel like I just really needed to come to the ocean. I got up. Well, let's go swimming then. The new earth didn't disappoint. There was so much for us to learn from each other. Everyone felt like family. I didn't want to leave.